What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. In today's video, we're going to be going over exactly what happened in the market today, some of the best plays for tomorrow, and just some of the top news. At the end of today's video, we have a $4.5 million trade that expires this Friday. The market had a pretty boring day today with the S&P 500 only closing up around 0.1%. We saw a lot of choppy movement, but we do still have some pretty important news, especially with the Fed minutes. So with that being said, if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. But with that being said, Tom, what happened in the market today?
The first thing I'm going to cover is actually that minutes meeting, and the CNBC reports that the Fed officials say that the easy policy will stay in place until economic outcomes are achieved. And the Federal Reserve officials indicated at their last meeting the easy policy will stay in place until it produces stronger employment and inflation, and it won't be adjusted based merely just on forecasts or like what some analyst has to say. So that's the big thing right now, is that they're going to keep these policies in place and they're going to keep pumping the market until they pretty much get the until they get the outcomes that they're looking for. And I think that they're looking for new highs out of the market. Obviously, they're probably trying to get stuff going with bonds as well. So there's just a whole lot of stuff going on right now. And like they said, the main thing is that they want to see higher inflation, and by driving up the markets, that's exactly what they're doing.
Gotcha. So the market didn't really care too much about that minutes meeting today. We could see that the market did finish up overall, but there wasn't any crazy movement to the upside or the downside. So thanks for filling us in there, Tom. But I heard there was some pretty interesting news with AMD, specifically with their options.
Yeah, CNBC reports that options traders placed huge bets today on AMD ahead of their XLNX acquisition. And the thing was that they actually announced this acquisition a while ago, but they had to have a vote today with their shareholders to see if their shareholders would vote to actually acquire that, and they voted to do that. And it actually helped AMD, but CNBC reports that they saw huge amounts of calls going into AMD at about a 3-to-1 ratio, and the 82 strike calls ended up having the most volume. And those strikes, it was the 82 strike calls for April 9th, which is this Friday, and we can see that there was 18,000 volume on that specific strike. So that was pretty insane. And then also 14,000 volume on the 83 call as well.
Very interesting. So I also saw with AMD, it is the, what is it? It's the 155 strike call for January 20th of 2023. And there was about $2.2 million put into that trade alone. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. That option has a ton of time, but it's also pretty far out of the money. And, either way, this is good news. And AMD has done very well over the past couple years. But that's great news there. AMD was up around 1% today. And was there any other major news that happened today?
There was also some pretty good news with President Joe Biden. He actually said today that he's willing to negotiate on the corporate tax rate hike that's in his $2 trillion infrastructure plan. And in his quotes, he says, "I'm willing to listen to that," he said today. And just keep in mind that he's currently calling for a 28% corporate tax rate right now in the current infrastructure plan. But if they can negotiate that, it might come down. And I think the markets love that news. At the end of the day today, we saw the market kind of pop up. It's still trading within the range, and it's having trouble breaking 407 on the SPY. But I will say, though, that news with Biden is pretty good if they can get that corporate tax rate down.
Awesome stuff. Well, great news there. And let's get right into our momentum plays and member of the day. Today's member of the day is a YouTube commenter, Mikey. So huge shout out, Mikey. He's been leaving some really positive comments in the YouTube section for the past couple days. So I just wanted to give him a huge shout out. It's always good to, shout people out who are just, spreading positivity and just saying positive things. So huge shout out, Mikey. We really appreciate your positivity. But now let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have JP Morgan to the upside.
Yeah, with JP Morgan, banks did very well today. They have a very solid resistance here around 155.50, so make them break above that.
Sounds good. With the next one, we have NIO.
Yep, with NEO, this one's actually to the downside, and this is going to surprise a lot of people, but make them fall below $37.
All right, and then we have another one that's very similar to NIO, and that's LI.
Yeah, these guys, the chart looks a little bit worse for them today, even, but make them break below 22.
All right, so we're eyeing JP Morgan to the upside and then NIO and LI for potential day trades to the downside. All of these are for potential day trades. But while we're talking about NIO, this is one of the best stocks to sell cash secured puts on in terms of like return on capital. It's a relatively cheap stock at $37. But, if you like this stock for the long term, when it has these dips, the implied volatility really likes to pop up. And you can sell some put options that are pretty far out of the money and get some relatively good premiums on them. So I just wanted to point that out. I've been doing a lot of research with a lot of different cash secured puts and different strategies with selling premium. And, just from some of the research I've done, NIO has some of the best returns for your money. So I just want to point that out for everyone. And keep in mind, this would only work if you like NIO for the long term. But with that being said, let's get right into that $4.5 million trade for this Friday. We are looking at the Tesla 710 strike calls that expire this Friday, April 9th. And considering that this option is $40 out of the money and it expires in 2 days, I'm definitely going to say that they're shorting them.
Yeah, I could see them shorting this as well, actually. And the overall market today was pretty flat, but Tesla actually posted a red day down around 3%, and we can see that they actually bounced off of this $700 resistance, and now they're heading back to the downside. And I hope Tesla does not keep going down. I like them as a company. I hope that they can go up, but at the same time, they're having a lot of problems getting above that $700 level. So I wouldn't actually be too bullish on them till they broke above that, and that's why I think they're shorting it.
Sounds good. So basically, what it means if they are shorting these calls is that they want Tesla below $710 by this Friday, April 9th. If you kind of wanted to mimic that trade, you could always do like a Tesla call credit spread or something along those lines. But let's get right into the questions from the previous episode. With the first question, we have Alice saying thoughts on Groupon calls. So GRPN. She said, beaten down from offering and just reported great earnings. So let's take a look at it. This max weekly chart definitely scares me, but for the short term, it can be a decent play. It looks like it is bouncing back up, but one thing I would be worried about is like a dead cat bounce, Tom. You see how it fell from like 65 all the way down to 45. Now it's sitting right around 50. Like, who knows? We might see it retest 45 and go lower. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. And we just also hit off a big resistance around 60 to $63. Anywhere between that range was a pretty good resistance, and the 1,000 SMA as well. I could probably see this being a dead cat bounce, honestly, just given how bad the chart looks right now. But for the longer term, it might be a pretty good hold as they're there at lows, and just given what Groupon does. But at the same time, though, just trust the charts, and that's why I just don't like it.
All right, with the next question, we have Bravo saying, hey guys, good work. Can you take a look at Apple again? That was a nice play today. Do you think there is a chance it goes back to $130 to $138? So let's take a look at that one. I bet we will eventually see it break 130 and then 138. It's an amazing company. I'm not sure what time frame you're looking on for next Friday, so April 16th. Apple has a 32% chance of closing above 130 on next Friday, and it has about a 3% chance of closing above 138 on next Friday. And if you go out to like May 21st, it has about a 20% chance of being above 138. So overall, I hope those statistics helped you, but I'm sure they'll definitely retest those levels in the long term. They are an amazing company, and we're just seeing a lot of, I don't know, I want to say that we're seeing a lot of positive momentum into a lot of different tech stocks. Like if you look at Snapchat or Twitter or Microsoft or Google or even just the QQQ, there's a lot of upwards momentum right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Apple test 130 or 138 sooner than we think.
Yeah, definitely. Apple looks fantastic. I really like today how it broke above 127. And at the end of the day, it closed very strong as well. Right now, running up to about 128 in after hours. So definitely watch out for it tomorrow. It is starting to run.
All right, with the next question, we have Luke saying, what do you guys think of CAN for the short term? So it looks pretty good. They do have earnings coming up on April 12th, which is a little worrying because earnings are always a gamble. But as long as they hold above that 16 support, I think it could be pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. That $16 level looks pretty good, but like you said, with that earnings, it could definitely do anything.
All right, with the next question, we have Frazier saying, can Intel hit all-time highs? So the all-time high, if we look on the Max Weekly chart, is around $75.83, and they hit that back in like 2000, and right now it's sitting right around $66. So it looks good. I wouldn't bet against it. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I think they're a pretty good company, and the sector overall is doing amazing. And I think that they're really benefiting from the chip shortage and just all types of stuff like that. I think that that's helping Intel right now a lot. Definitely watch out for the $68 to $70 level. I think that's going to be a pretty good resistance, and we might have a lot of trouble actually breaking out of that. So just be pretty careful there. And like Mike said, it's kind of funny that the last time they were doing this good was during the tech bubble of the early 2000s, and you can see they hit 75 over the course of just a couple years and then just tanked all the way back down to like $20.
All right, with the next question, we have Rich saying, what do you think of Fubo? It's bouncing around low 22s with a bright outlook. It's also really I'm also really liking SPLK. It's holding 140s with massive upside. So let's take a look at Fubo. They look pretty good, actually. They are sitting right around $20. The way I would play this would be selling like a pretty far out of the money put. That would be like a win-win situation for me. And their options are relatively expensive. Their implied volatility is like at 132%. So you could get some decent premiums for that. I like it for cash secured puts. And then if we look at SPLK, that also looks pretty decent. I'm not a huge fan of SPLK, but I think it looks pretty decent.
Yeah, the chart on SPLK is definitely a little bit worse than Fubo. And personally, I just think that Fubo's chart looks a little bit bearish on the daily. They recently broke below support, but definitely watch out for $20.
With the last question, we have Alice saying, thoughts on Penn calls. Down 30% from all-time highs. It's a reopening play, and it just joined the S&P 500. So I really like Penn for cash secured puts. They have some pretty good premiums as well. They are getting very close to that 100 support level, which is pretty good to see. I like them for the long term, and it's also good that they got added to the S&P. Tom, do you have any like specific levels or anything like that?
Yeah, that 100 support is going to be fantastic, I think, for it. And they're also right on the 100 SMA as well. So definitely watch out for that. I do like this stock with all the stuff with casinos and gaming doing well right now. So I think that that could be doing pretty good. We can see that MGM has been doing very well over the past few months. So has DraftKings, but Penn has had some bad news. But other than that, though, it's been a pretty good company, and I think that it's due for a lot of growth as as sports betting and stuff like that becomes legal in more states.
For sure. So there's definitely a little bit of a quote unquote interesting news with Penn right now. We're not going to talk about it in today's video, but if you just do a quick Google search on Penn stock and Dave Portnoy, you'll definitely be able to learn more about that. But yeah, so I like them for the long term. Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or any insight for the market for tomorrow?
Yeah, the last thing I'm really going to just talk about for tomorrow is the SPY. I really love the channel it's in right now between 405 and 407. I think that if it breaks below 405, we might see it fall down. Personally, I think it's going to break out above 407 tomorrow. So definitely watch out for that. If it breaks 407.24 in the morning or in pre-market, I think the market might start to run up tomorrow. And I think all this good news today with the Fed officials and with Joe Biden negotiating the corporate tax rate, I think all that stuff is just great news for the market. And I think it will start to push it up tomorrow.
Sounds great. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you want to trade with Tom and I every single day, day trades, swing trades, and access to our bots, you can click the first link in the description down below for about $40 off. And don't forget to subscribe to our new channel, Stocked Up Live. We're going to be live streaming very soon. So don't forget to subscribe there. The link will also be in the description down below. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.